Lehman M. from New Orleans, Louisiana, writes, "Can I use a plural and a singular together to express an understanding, such as people or a person don't know what people or a person are thinking?" Hi, this is Thomas with Cozy Grammar, speaking to you from Marie's cozy beach cottage on the edge of Discovery Passage in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Lehman, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Lehman, do write and correct me. I think this is a great question because it is a question about where the matter of grammar meets the matter of style. What I mean by that is, where does the matter of being technically correct, grammatically correct, meet the question of what is the most effective and indeed beautiful way of conveying a specific thought? For instance, sometimes we do want to indicate that a subject could be either singular or plural. For example, she or they didn't see the rock. In fact, you might imagine a kind of a whole story that's sort of hidden in the wings around a sentence like that. He or she didn't see the rock, and so one of them steered their boat into the side of it, or whatever, right? But notice here we have she, singular, they, plural, didn't see the rock. So yes, depending on the context, we can use a singular and a plural together in a sentence. However, as you yourself have noted, this can also become complicated. For instance, look at this sentence that you've sent. People or a person don't know what people or a person are thinking. Now, the reason this starts to become complicated is this. In English, we need our subjects and predicates to agree with each other. A singular subject needs a verb in the singular. A plural subject needs a verb in the plural. For some very simple examples, he sits beside the sea. They sit beside the sea. He goes with sits. They go with sit. But this simply means that when we want to express something more complicated, we get to use our imagination and creativity to form sentences that simultaneously respect the structure of language while expressing what it is we want to say. Grammar is really about clarity of meaning. It's really just a tool to express what we want to express. So let me look at this example of he sits beside the sea and they sit beside the sea. I could combine them by saying he or they sits or sit beside the sea, which to my ear sounds a bit convoluted. Or I could just simplify it and say he and they sit beside the sea. I've included the he among the they to make a compound subject, a compound, and in this case, plural subject. He and they sit beside the sea. Simplicity is also a virtue, and it is a virtue we associate most closely with the matter I've called style, the most effective and pleasing way of using language. So let's look again at your example. This sentence, people or person don't know what people or a person are thinking, is a very interesting and more technical sounding sentence. It sounds a little convoluted. And therefore, depending on the context for which you're writing this sentence, I would recommend considering rewriting it like this. A person doesn't know what other people are thinking. I'll say that again. A person doesn't know what other people are thinking. Here, other people implicitly includes that one and that many. It's a inclusive word. Similarly, a person suggests a kind of generality. It could mean one person, or it could mean people in general. So a person doesn't know what other people are thinking, I think captures the more or less the same idea in a way that is a bit simpler and a bit more direct. One could, of course, rewrite the sentence in any other number of ways, but as a rule of thumb, whenever our language starts to become convoluted, it's essential to ask, Could this be said more simply, more easily, and more directly? So I hope that answers your question about using a plural and a singular together to express an understanding. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to write again at cozygrammar.com, and I'll be happy to address any further questions you might have.